Hey everybody, it is Marla Martinson and you are watching another episode of Conversations with Cupid. And as you requested, more magical topics. I've got Steffany Barton with me today. Hey Steffany!
Hey, glad to be here.
Great to see you. Well, you guys, Steffany is a psychic medium. She's a spiritual teacher and author who is highly sought after for her angel readings. You know how much I love angel stuff and angel readings. Part of her mission is to demystify the spiritual and psychic arts. So I like to demystify that too because a lot of people have questions. And Steffany holds a degree as a registered nurse. She's a certified past life regression therapist, hypnotherapy therapist, and a Karuna Reiki master. I do Reiki too. That's awesome.
I love Reiki. Yeah.
So welcome. You know, I'm really curious about how you made that transition. I just want to hear a little bit of your story. You were a nurse, and I read that you were brought up in a conservative church in conservative areas. So tell us a little bit about what it was like and what happened.
Well, I had, even as a child, had those experiences of seeing guardian angels and feeling very deeply connected to something that wasn't just about church, but that was about spirit. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't really accepted in the traditional setting of the church. So I sort of suppressed that like many kids do and just pretended it wasn't there or made it go away. So after I got out on my own and started working as a nurse, some of these experiences of seeing spirits and seeing angels, and especially in the hospital working the night shift, those things started to reemerge. And so rather than running from it, I decided to embrace it and to study and to learn all I could, and eventually realized that I might be able to give it a go, and I made the transition from the traditional job into a very different line of work, but I love being able to serve people in this way. I just love it.
This is fascinating. So we hear about people on their deathbed seeing a loved one that has passed, maybe that came to greet them. Did you start seeing angels and guides with your actual eyes, or was it the third eye, or how did you see them?
Both. There were sometimes I would walk into a room and it would be full. And I would go ask the nurses, who are the visitors? And they would look at me. There's no visitors in that room.
And but full of, like, you saw people? Or plasma? Yeah. Or were they see-through? How did they manifest?
It's a combination. They manifest however they need to in order to provide comfort.
But so you thought they were real people because you said, who are the visitors? So you didn't know they were angels.
Oh, sometimes very much so. Sometimes they would be just as solid as the person laying in the bed.
Wow.
And it was amazing. Just so amazing. And I knew at that point that there was no denying the reality of spirit or the ability that we have to connect with the other side.
So you saw people's family members, and then you saw angels. What did they look? The difference in look?
Oh, the difference in look. It's like a 20-watt bulb and a 75-watt bulb being plugged into a light socket. Angels are so illuminated and so bright. You feel different when you're seeing and experiencing their presence as compared to a human spirit. There's absolutely a difference.
And now angels, explain about this, because people will say, oh, my guardian angel is my dad or my angel, but angels have never had a human incarnation and they've never taken on a human life, have they? But you could see them maybe on the side of the road assisting look like a person. So can you kind of explain that about angels?
Sure. And there are no hard and fast rules in the spirit world. It's not right or wrong, or your angels aren't going to kick you by the curb because you thought your angel was your grandma.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. But generally speaking, guardian angels haven't lived a full human life because they have a purity. There's an innocence. There's something that's just love about our guardian angels that's necessary because then they don't have the human attachments and the, all the stuff that we tend to accumulate during a human life. Now, as you said, an angel can hop into a body for a minute or two to provide assistance at the side of the road or to bring comfort. But overall, our angels are pure love and that loving essence and energy that we need.
And then the angels, as I understand it, reside in another dimension. So is it the seventh dimension, pretty much, is the angelic dimension?
Yes. And then they're so, being pure energy, they can move seamlessly and in a very fluid fashion by grace into our dimension and really anywhere love is needed.
Right, and that's what I think people who don't believe in angels, I know my husband has a hard time with that. He just can't, and he says angels don't exist. They were made up by man. When you see the paintings with angels' wings, that's just a artist rendition. It's, but I think I've heard that the wings were really just the aura or the way that an artist would depict it, but they don't really just have these wings.
Exactly. It's a depiction. It's a symbol. I agree with that.
Okay.
And if it provides comfort to think of angels as having wings, and if that's what an angel needs to manifest in order for us to understand that's an angel, then there's nothing wrong with having wings.
Right.
But wings aren't necessary for an angel to fly.
Yeah, and I connect with my angel, my guardian angel. Her name's Mirth. I connect with her on a talking board, and my friend Julie and I we started taking all of these spiritual development classes together. And one day she says, "Hey, look what I've got!" And she brought over this big board with letters and like a Ouija board, but it wasn't Ouija. It was just a talking board. And then we said, "Okay, well, let's try it." And we sat down and put candles. We'd never tried it before. And we put our hands on the planchette, and it started talking to us. First, it was a spirit that called itself Secret Spirit. It kind of had a funny sense of humor. Once that one was gone, and somebody else came through, I said, "Who are you?" And it spelled angel. Oh, my God. I was like, it was the most exciting thing. And then from then on, she gave me her name, and we've been for 2 years now talking, and I talk to her all the time. I can't seem to connect with her without the board. That's my tool. How did you start connecting, and did you just do you do it psychically, or how do you talk to the angels?
Well, I spend a lot of time just listening, and sometimes that's hard because we want to get the information quick. And we want it to be instant, and we want to understand it the first time. We tend to be a bit impatient. But I just practiced and got quiet and listened and waited and was very patient. And in time, I found that I could feel the words. It felt like love when I would hear their messages. And then I could see their energy. I could see their light. And it just, more than anything else, it's the feeling that distinguishes communication with an angel as compared to communication with a human spirit. It just feels different. And it's like you said, as soon as you saw the word angel, instantly you felt something.
Oh my gosh, it was like, wow, I never expected that. You hear spirits coming on, somebody who's from another century that died or this or that. I didn't know what to expect. And then when it said angel, and then I have one other angel, his name is Thomas, and he comes through as well. He came through later. And my angel has a great sense of humor. She'll come on sometimes. She'll say, hey, it's Mirth, she'll say, it's your badass angel, Mirth. Or when she signs off, she'll say, angel kisses XOXO. So it's very loving and very sweet.
Oh, very much so. Oh, some of the funniest people I know are the ones on the other side.
Yes, yeah.
There's just such a joy and an enthusiasm for life that angels can bring to us that's really invaluable, especially when we're going on our day-to-day business and kind of get lost in the shuffle of life. It's really important to keep that sense of humor.
So for someone who wants to connect with their angels, do they need to start a meditation practice every day? What's the best way to do that?
I think the very first step is just to check all your expectations at the door and be very open. Because as you said, angels have a sense of humor. They are very uplifting, but they have a sense of spirit about them too. So just to be very open is the first step. And then I think the second step is to make a discipline of finding some quiet time each day where you're not trying to control and you're not trying to produce an outcome, but you're just allowing and letting spirit speak while you willingly listen. That's the best thing that you can do when it comes to connecting with your angels. I
Now,
think,
what about children? A lot of kids will say, I guess I sort of remember this, but my mom tells me that I had a invisible friend. It was a rabbit, and I'd tell my uncle, "You're stepping on my rabbit," and there's nothing there. And when kids do that, it's often because they do see
oh,
a spirit, and it's real for them. There's something there.
yes, they've not learned to judge or to reject that. They see it and talk about it, and it's there.
Right.
So I think it's important not to suppress those. You don't want to indulge or, encourage the child to embellish
Hmm.
on those images, but by all means honor and recognize when kids mention those things because it is real. It's very real.
When there was one more incident when I was a child, I was either 2 or 3, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was in the middle of the night. I was lying on top of my bed, and I opened my eyes in the room, and right in front of my bed was it was like a shadow figure. It was like a human form, but it was all black, and
Mm-hmm.
it had its hands on its hips, and it was like doing these like deep knee bends in front of me. It was really weird, and I was scared out of my mind. I was frozen. I just was like, "What is that?" It was very
Sure.
clear someone was there in front of me, and I was scared out of my mind. Didn't scream, and finally I just closed my eyes, and then it was gone. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any idea what that could have been?
Most likely it was one of your spirit guides just getting your attention or introducing himself, encouraging you to do some calisthenics.
I used to do. That's when Jack LaLanne was on TV in the '60s, and I
Yes.
used to do the exercises with the chair with the TV. It was like, oh, Jack LaLanne's spirit
The
company.
spirit guide. Yeah. Hey, no reason he couldn't be
He
your
was
spirit.
alive at the time, but I thought it looks very much like a Jack LaLanne type.
Yes.
Another question is animals. My dog Macy, she's very angelic. She's the most sweetest thing, and I'll sit there and watch her, and she will look. We're sitting together, and all of a sudden she'll be
Yes. Oh, yes.
like
Yes.
this. I mean, literally like following something, and she does it all the time. She'll look over it, and there's nothing there. So, do you think
Right.
she's seen Mirth or one of my
Oh,
angels?
absolutely, without question. Animals are so tuned in, and I know that animals sometimes have that angelic presence. So there's angels send animals to us all the time because they are such loving beings and such wonderful gifts to us in our human lives. So I know Macy's seeing angels all the time.
And the way I found Macy was unbelievable. I had a dog named Daphne for 17 years who was just an
Mhm.
angel. She passed. And then we bought a house a few years later, and everyone was like, "Hey, are you going to get another dog? Now that you have a house, you can get a dog." And I said, "Gosh, it's such I was always afraid, what if you pick the wrong dog? What if it's, not
Right.
good or something?" And I was very particular because, I had to take such good care of my dogs. They're with me so long. And I said, "You know what? If I'm meant to have a dog, I'll be walking down the street one day. The perfect dog will just be walking up the street. It'll be a female. It'll be the right size. It'll be the right personality, everything." And about 3 weeks later, my husband and I actually had an argument. And I said, "I'm taking a walk." And I took a walk. And at the end of one street, on the corner of a busy street, there was Macy just standing there. And I said, "Who are you?" And then she came and stood behind me. I picked her up. She licked my cheek. I looked around. There was a woman right around the corner on the cell phone. I said, "Hey, is this your dog?" She said, "No, but I've been trying to get her to come to me because I didn't want her to run to the street. She wouldn't even come to me." And
Right.
I'm pretty offended because I'm I rescue animals. That's what I do. And I couldn't believe she wouldn't come to me, but she went right to you. And so
Yeah.
then I took her home, and I looked for a week for her owners, checked for a chip, looked on website, everything,
Right.
and couldn't find anybody, no flyers, nothing. And
Yeah.
so we kept her, and I felt that she was just brought
She-
right
you're-
to me, and she has the same personality as Daphne, just an angel. That everybody meets her, they want her, they say, "I've never seen a dog like this."
Yes, isn't that incredible? And that's how it works. She was sent to you straight from love. And it's so amazing the timing that you had an argument
Yeah.
and there she was to comfort you. That's her purpose. Is just
Right, and
to
I brought her in and I walked, because I didn't know what to do with her, and I walked back, my husband was cleaning the pool, and he looks at me, he goes, "What are you doing with that dog? Take it back," and then he says, "I don't want to fall in love with that dog." And then I said, "Okay," and I looked around for the owner, and so I said, "What am I going to do tonight? I can't put her in the street." And then
Sure.
and then he fell in love with her. I said, "Can we keep her?" He said, "Sure."
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he loves her, I mean, so much, so... Yeah.
It's so incredible how Spirit and our angels provide for us just in miraculous ways when we're open to receive.
She's right here for anybody who wants to know, and she even pretends to be a black wolf. Macy, howl, howl, ow!
Oh, wow. Hi.
She's great. So yeah, I think and animals, they have their own angels, right?
They absolutely do. They have their own guardian angels, which is so incredible to see. And so if you're ever looking at Macy or, any other animal and you see just little pinpoints of light around the animal, that's their guardian angel.
Oh, I would love to see that. See, I don't see things like that yet. I'm trying to open up my third eye so that I can see lights and things.
Well, it starts, and I think people see more than what we tend to give ourselves credit for. But anytime you see like a shadow out of the corner of your eye, or if you see like a little flash of light, oh my gosh, more often than not, those are angels that we're getting a glimpse of.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you try to see it, you lose it.
Right.
But that's absolutely an encounter with an angel when you get those flashes.
And I've heard that everyone has at least 2 angels.
Oh, at least.
And a psychic that I spoke to once, we were talking on Skype, and he says, "You have 11 angels." He says, "I see this very rarely, but you have 11 angels with you." That's what he told me. And my birthday is June 11th, so that was kind of interesting.
It corresponds nicely, yeah. And the wonderful thing is, too, I know a lot of people are hesitant to ask for angels or to ask for help, or they think, well, this is insignificant. Angels wouldn't want to help me with this. But angels love to serve. You cannot have too many angels. You can't bother them. You can't ask for too much help. They exist to serve.
Well,
so
okay, so I'll give a little tip that I did when you're having trouble at work. So I'm a matchmaker, and I've got high maintenance clients, some of them, right? Sometimes I'm like, how am I going to match these people? I need always more women to match them in with. And one time I said, "Mirth, please, can you help me with my matchmaking today? I got it. I need some help." And then that day I matched with ease. I mean, everybody I needed to match up had matches, and it was, I think she really helped me with my matchmaking.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's cool that a lot of people don't realize is that every relationship has a guardian angel too. So there's a guardian angel of your marriage.
Oh.
And there will be a guardian angel that helps the relationship between you and Macy. So not only do you have your angels, and she's got her angels, but you have an angel that helps to tend that relationship.
So that angel must be coming in when you get married, someone that hasn't been with you before, right?
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I've now angels they've been with. I asked Mirth on the board, how long have you been with me? And she said always. So in past lives, and
that is absolutely true.
So they're assigned. Who knows when? In eternity, thousands of lifetimes, I guess.
Absolutely, and that bond never changes, no matter what lifetime we're in, no matter what situation or circumstance. We're stuck with them, and they're stuck with us.
I love it. Isn't that just beautiful to know that you have a friend there? You have somebody who's always doesn't judge you and is on your side.
And has always, and knows every experience you've had and loves you and accepts you and can help you.
I wanted to get my astrology or something done by an Indian guru or something. I didn't end up doing it, but they needed your exact time of birth, date and time. And in the 60s, they didn't put the time on the birth certificates, the time of birth. And my mom didn't remember exactly. She said it was sometime after 9 p.m. And I said, oh my gosh, I really want to know the exact time to make this accurate, this astrology thing. And so I went on the board, and right away Mirth came on. She says, Marla, I know. I didn't even ask. She goes, I know what time you were born. I was there. And I said, when, Mirth? She said, 9:08 p.m.
Cool.
And so I'm like, oh, thank you.
Well, of course you know. She was there.
Right. That blew me away.
Yes, and our angels can help us access that kind of information, past lives and issues that we've had. If you have a phobia or a birthmark or a certain physical tendency, our angels can help us discern where those fears or uncertainties came from so that we can let them go and then live a joy-filled life. That's the point of angels.
And so you do past life regressions. I'm going to have one done this month. I'm super excited. And I've heard that, let's say someone has a fear of water or a fear of heights, and you take them back and see, okay, maybe someone fell off a cliff in a past life or drowned, or something was pushed and killed or something. Then once you see that happen in that past life, then it heals and you're no longer afraid.
It does. It takes the sting out of that fear so that then we can observe it and choose differently. I mean, fear exists for a reason, and sometimes we want to run away from it, but when we can look into it and understand it and then accept why we might have the fears we have, then we can start making choices to overcome that. So I think you'll love the regression.
I hope so. I hope I see some past lives. I'm going to bring some crystals that are good for past life, and I really hope I'm going to see something there. So
yeah,
I'll probably do it.
Let it be a first experience.
Yeah.
Just go in there with an open mind. It'll be great, though. I know you'll enjoy it.
And people can work with you. So what do you do? Angel readings, mediumship to speak to loved ones that have passed. What would somebody? Because I'm going to put your link down if anybody wants to contact you. What kind of things do you offer?
I do. Well, the thing that I offer that most people are drawn to that I really enjoy is the mediumship, connecting with loved ones on the other side. And so I'll tell you just an interesting story. When you asked me about the date for today, this is my mom's birthday, and she is on the other side.
Oh.
So you tossed this date out there, and I knew that that was her way of letting me know that this was a good time or that this would be a good experience for both of us. But that's what I love to do, is to help people connect with their loved ones on the other side. And then also meeting guardian angels and understanding how our angels help us, past lives, future probabilities. I just love serving and helping in the whole gamut of intuitive and spiritual energy, because it's so empowering to know there's a reason for things that happen in our life, there's a purpose for every experience, but that we have the power to create new beginnings, we have the power to heal the past. Love is infinite, and it's the answer. And so my goal is to bring that voice for love in every situation.
Well, that's beautiful, and as a matchmaker, I'm very aware that one of the big things people always, if they come to a psychic or a spiritual guidance, getting spiritual guidance, they want to know, when am I meeting that man?
Yes.
The men don't do that really, but the women are always, when am I going to meet him? When? And even when because I do Reiki and crystal healing, at the end I'll do an angel reading if someone wants it, and they're always, when am I going to meet? What's his name? When am I? And I think if we just tune in and experience that love from our angels, our guides, ourself, and work on ourself, that's going to naturally come. I think it's pretty hard to predict who's coming and when, because would you agree that it depends on how we are working on ourselves and what our energy is and the vibration, how that outcome would be?
I agree. And what I have found has been so helpful is I don't really do dates anymore, but I do circumstances and situations. So I'll describe, these are the situations that I see in place when you'll meet this person. And then describe, you'll feel a certain sense of ease. You'll have, accomplished a certain level of wellness and self-acceptance. So it's not about a calendar, it's about a readiness. And that comes from within our hearts. So describing the circumstance and the situation and the state of affairs is much more effective and much more helpful than just plopping a date on a timeline.
Right, because it's too tempting to just tell me what's going to happen in the future. Just tell me, and it really depends on what we're doing, the actions we're taking. Are we getting, even for a job, further education, getting ourselves psyched up for it, going out, making things happen.
Totally.
Instead of just I'm going to sit in my house and Prince Charming's going to knock on my door and I'm going to get the call for the perfect job. So
I know, totally. We are the creators. We're the writers of the story and the captains of the ship.
Yes.
So it is important to get out there and
throw your hat in the ring. You know, if anything you want to do, it's I'm writing books and people will wonder, okay, is there an age where it's just too late for me? I met a woman the other night at a Crystal Healing. I'm on a healing team, and she's 67, and she says, well, all my friends and family tell me it's not going to happen. It's too late for me. I can't. And I'm like, well, you know, tell them thanks for your, 2 cents, but get out of my face.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks. I mean, it's just, you need that one perfect person for you. And she says, well, all the men want younger. I said, many do, but many don't. And she was in great shape. She runs every day. She looks at least 10 years younger. And a dynamic, wonderful, heart-centered woman. And for people to get these ideas in their mind that it's too late to write a book, it's too late to meet someone, it's too late to start. I think just go out there and get your vibration raised and know that we can create anything. Absolutely. Pretty much. I mean, if I want to go be a brain surgeon, that's not going to happen in this life. But pretty much, if we have a desire and an interest, that's a nudge, right, from our guides and angels. These interests that we take in certain subjects.
Absolutely, and those nudges that just won't go away. Those thoughts you keep coming back to, and you keep coming back to it. That's divine guidance. Those are our angels giving us messages that it's important to receive, and then to start taking action to make those things happen in our lives, because we get that guidance for our own good.
Right, and there's a lot of people in jobs that they just can't stand, or they're soul-sucking, or they're like, oh, just can't wait till 5 o'clock or the weekend. Right. And I think if we would just kind of listen to those nudges, what is it that you love to do when you're not working, or how can you slowly make that into a career, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's where oftentimes we trip ourselves up, is because we think in all or nothing terms. Either I'm going to go to work or I'm going to quit the job.
Yes.
And our angels can very lovingly and very gently guide us on the path.
Yes.
It's a process. So maybe step 1 is get out your resume. Maybe step 2 is think about what you'd like in your next job. Our angels are so good at helping us in transition instead of just going from one extreme to the other, which then sets us up for an inevitable backlash. So when we're gentle and go to the path and take that process, it makes it so much more successful.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to leave it here. Steffany, thank you so much. And you guys, you have to get an angel reading with her. She's amazing. And thanks for everything. And we'll talk soon. And
sure.
I wanted to mention your books. You have 2 books, Wonder Wings and Angel's Insight.
Yes. And any questions anyone has about, there's so many ways to connect with angels. We've only just scratched the surface. So anytime, could this be an angel message, or is this a way angels can connect, or could I connect with this tool? Yes, it's wonderful to explore those things, because angels talk all the time. It's just we've got to learn to speak their language and to listen.
Yes, learn angel lingo.
Angel lingo, angelese.
Angelese. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marla. Have a good afternoon. Bye.